Hello and welcome to Take Flight Live with Phoenix Stage Company, an award-winning 100% volunteer community theater organization located in Oakville, Connecticut. I'm Ed Bassett, Executive Director of Phoenix Stage Company, and your host here with Tim Phillips. Say hello, Tim. Tim.
What?
Say hello.
I was listening to the Hamilton soundtrack.
Say hello.
Hello.
That's nice. We're joined today by a wonderful studio audience. Hello, studio audience. Yeah, wow, 3 people. They made a lot of noise.
They do.
Yeah, Tony Benedetti is in the house. Lori Phillips is here for the air conditioning.
Yeah.
And Colleen Renzullo from Cooking with Colleen is in the house with us.
She didn't bring any slutty brownies.
No, not today. Not today. Also with us is our technical producer, Michael Calabrese. He's here in the house. And our lighting genius, Al Hathaway, is out there with my coffee somewhere.
Where's
coffee boy. Al.
Boy in a what?
Al,
I will pour myself.
Yes, I need my coffee.
I will pour my Black Hog while you have your.
Thank you, Al. We're appropriately distancing to get my coffee in my Phoenix Stage Company coffee mug. Thank you so much, Al.
And before we go any further, we have to do our thing.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I forgot.
I'll just put that down there.
Don't spill.
Okay.
6 feet.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
And by the way, that's 6 feet equals 0.36 rods.
This is a family show.
You remember what a rod is, right?
He was a singer in the Rod Stewart's
Rod. No, you people are old. You remember rods when they used to teach rods and as a unit of measurement? Okay. I don't forget who we're talking about, but,
wow,
but it's 0.36 rods.
Thank you, Tim. So educational in math every
A little bit of education with every show.
It's true. It's true.
Cheers.
So we need to do this. There's a couple of birthdays this week, aren't there?
Yes, there are. In fact, tomorrow it's Rob Rusnowski's birthday.
Happy birthday. And tomorrow is also Jeff Savage's birthday.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Jeff
guys.
Savage
Rob,
out there.
what's Jeff, about 130 now?
Yeah, probably somewhere in there, right?
I know. And we also, our good friend Marilyn Olson just had her birthday yesterday.
Oh,
So
she did. Happy
belated
birthday, Marilyn.
to
Some
Marilyn.
other good news that we got this week is that our very good friend and supporter, Karen Willie, is home from the hospital.
Yes.
Karen, we love you. We
We're
wish you
glad.
very well.
I heard that she tried to plan her escape early, but she got home anyway. So it's great. We're
That's
happy
good.
about that.
Yeah,
Very
so
happy about
sending
that.
you lots of love and lots of hugs.
How was your week?
The week went by pretty fast.
Yep.
It's hot here. I'm sure it's hot everywhere.
Yes.
It's hot. So pretty much stayed where there was air conditioning.
Yes.
Right. I've been sewing masks. Yesterday I made 42 masks.
Ooh, is that a record for one day?
No, I don't think so. I think I've probably made a few more in a day. Just sit in front of the fan with the air conditioner
There you
on. And, Colleen got the delivery of her masks today.
She's been looking forward to it.
She got the one and only, the only existing disco ball mask.
If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it. I took a picture of it.
Yeah,
I understand what you're talking about, air conditioning. Yesterday, for the first time in 4 months and 6 days, I went back to work on the road.
Oh, wow.
I know. It was a big thing for me because, my job sends me all over New York State and Vermont and Connecticut usually, and I put like 40,000 miles a year in it. But since March 16th, I have been home, working from home until yesterday.
And how's that going, Lori? Yeah.
Our house is not big enough.
Yeah.
But it was first of all, I went to these courthouses in New York State around Albany, and the level of scrutiny that you get when you go into these courthouses now is pretty intense. I had my temperature taken 7 times yesterday. Some of the technology is fascinating. There was one courthouse, Albany. They had this screen set up in front of you, and there was a little outline on the screen of your face. And you had to kind of put your face into that outline, and then it would tell you what your temperature was or tell you if you're safe. Of course, I was wearing a mask, and that was apparently a problem. So I started pulling down the mask a little bit, and all of a sudden this voice from the computer said, "Put your mask on." So I put my mask on and said, "Normal." And then, okay. It yelled at me that I was normal. So then I proceeded on with my job.
Wow. Well, you know, we have an infrared thermometer here.
Yes.
We check everyone's temperatures when they come in. I'm amazed at how many people are like 97.5, 97.7, 97.8, 98, 97.9.
Yeah.
I think it's because we all come in from the air conditioning of our cars, and
Yes.
we're a little cool. No, Lori, not true.
No air conditioning.
Oh, she doesn't have
Okay.
air conditioning.
Oh, those windows are down.
I will
And
have
yet
to say-
so you're very healthy because you were still in the 97 range.
Yeah. We were just talking about this before we went on the air. Because I was so far away last night, I was about 30 minutes north of Albany when I finished work, and I had a long drive home. So I said, I want to listen to something. What should I listen to pass this 2.5 hours that I have in the car to get home? So I put the soundtrack from Hamilton on. It lasted from above Albany to Torrington.
Well, there you go.
And then I went home and watched it on Disney Plus for the 4th time. So
He is just advertising for Disney and Hamilton.
I'm
like,
hoping
over
they'll
and
give me
over again. So,
they're going to give me a discount. I just know it.
or maybe they'll give us a sponsorship.
Ooh.
Ah,
We could
that'd
be
really
bought out by Disney,
okay.
just like ESPN and Pixar and Marvel and
Sure,
Phoenix Stage Company.
sure. You do that. One other thing that I'd like to share this week is
Yes.
that our friend and playwright Laura King, who is the playwright of the Kaiwood Canal Girls, she during this pandemic has started her own podcast.
Is that right?
Yes, it's called Gaslight.
Yes.
And it is on Buzzsprout, so you can go to buzzsprout.com
Okay.
and you can check it out. In her first episode, she and her friend Katie, who is an actor and a singer and a saint, apparently she describes herself as, they talk about the derivation of the term ghostlight and where it comes from, and then they talk further about the Theatre Royal at Drury Lane in London, which is reportedly the most haunted theater in the world.
That sounds fascinating.
And they discuss the most famous ghost there, which was called the Man in Gray.
The Man in
Yeah,
Gray.
so you can find her podcast on Buzzsprout, and it's her very first one, and it's called Gaslight. So take a look. And Laura, congratulations. and
Yes.
I hope it goes well for you.
Maybe we could do like a swap, and she could come on our show, and we'll go on her show.
Ooh, absolutely, we could. Well, yeah, she's kind of new at it right now. And
Well, she
she's
can-
learning the ways. But yeah, we should have her on as a guest and talk about it.
Yeah, so we could teach her all the things, all the wisdom we have about podcasts now.
So
What are these things again?
yeah, I'm just going to say. So you show up and talk.
Yes,
Yeah, our technical producer. Without him, you wouldn't be seeing us right now.
that's probably
You
true.
would just hear us. But
Well,
yeah.
in fact, are you on a game right now, or are you just? Oh, okay, just checking.
So listen, last week we talked to Tim Cleary, our
Yes.
very, very good friend. It was so good to see him, and it was a really
great.
really nice episode. What
Yes.
are we doing this week?
Well,
Tim?
today we are discussing putting it all together, a musical. Our guest will be our good friend Sean Lewis, who's the music director here at Phoenix and in other area theaters. He's also our choir master and music director of the church Lori and I belong to, the Congregational Church of Naugatuck. And our friend Lydia is back with another Ask Lydia segment. And of course, we'll be playing jargon gymnastics. And we have a brand new segment this week.
We do. We'll share that with you later.
Yeah.
We think you're gonna like it.
So
It's kind of nice.
musicals, they're very daunting. I've only directed one, and it was basically a disaster. You've done gazillions, it seems, in my mind.
Yeah, I have. I've done a lot of musicals.
Yes,
A lot. And the past couple I did with Sean, actually.
that's right.
I was
Both the
both of the
I see the sign
trailer
over there, the
Yes.
Armadillo Acres.
right, both of the Great American Trailer Park.
Yes.
We did the original and then the Great American Trailer Park Christmas musical. We did that together.
Yep.
And I've worked on musicals that he's been a part of,
Mhm.
either as a costumer or I was in a musical that he was
Right.
music director too.
What's the first thing that happens once you get a musical that you're going to be directing? I assume the staff is put together and
Yes.
the music director is chosen or whatever. What's the first thing you do with these people?
Well, some theaters will hand you a staff,
Yep.
and other theaters ask you to put a staff together.
Okay.
And so you kind of have to do that.
What's easier?
Actually, I do like to be able to ask my music director if I can.
Yep.
the first thing that if I'm asked to direct a musical and I'm not familiar with it, or sometimes they'll say, hey, we have this musical and I'm familiar with it and I want to do it. I listen to the music over and over again because the music is going to speak to me. And you'll kind of know, if you don't have a music director yet and you're familiar with music directors in the area, you'll know which music director fits the genre or the style of the music best that you feel would share your vision for it.
When you're and once you have this music director in place, do you sit down and discuss what your thoughts are for the show?
Yeah, we do.
So you have a basic picture that you're going to start with and work from there.
Right. And that you can get a feel for each other about how involved you want to be.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit different than most directors, and Colleen is in the audience, so she can kind of tell this, but when I'm directing a musical, I want the cast to know the music before I start blocking.
That makes sense.
I really want them to be comfortable enough to be on stage because a musical, the dialogue sometimes is a vehicle for the music, and then the music becomes a vehicle for the dialogue. So if they know the songs first, then we can kind of get into that. Also, if they're off book with the songs, choreography is much easier.
Yes.
So we really spend, for me, the first couple of weeks learning music and just getting it down so they're familiar enough with it to be able to then move on to blocking. And other directors work very differently. I know they do. I don't know, what all of them do.
For the most part, musicals I have worked with has been pretty much the same way. You sit down with a music director and you get really good at, they like to take the big numbers first, the big full cast numbers and the bigger shows, and get everybody together on it, because those are going to be the most challenging. Some musicals are more individualistic, just individuals singing the songs. Some are just total music. When I was in Into the Woods at Thompson Opera House in 2004, I want to say, that's a very difficult show. And it's it's like 98% music. You spend so much time working on it. Joseph is the same. Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat is the same way. It's almost all music. So you really have to spend a lot of time with your music director and getting used to your music director.
You do. And some shows like Joseph, it is so important that you have the lyrics down to those songs, because the choreography matches the lyrics. That red and yellow and green and blue and purple and scarlet and violet and ochre and peach and oh my gosh, that was so hard, right? And it just, boy, Sharon Houk, then Wilcox, directed me in that show twice. Oh my gosh, she knows that show back and forth. And it would just be beating those colors into your head, because you had to know it, because you knew where your positioning was while you were doing those things. And our guest, Sean, the first time that I worked with him was in We Will Rock You, and Sean dives into the music. You go to your first rehearsal and he goes, okay, are you familiar with the music? Did you listen to the music? Okay, let's go. Ba, 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 ba. And you just start singing, and at first you're a little struck by, wait, what?
Did I miss 2 weeks of rehearsal?
Wait, what? And so, because he just plows in and then says, now let's take that apart. And then he takes it apart. And at first it was kind of, I was shell shocked at first. And especially that happens when I was not familiar with We Will Rock You, and I was kind of hoodwinked into that show. And, I was asked to do a role, and it's a small role, and you don't have a lot of lines, and you have one song in the second act, and don't worry about it. It's just and you don't have to dance, right? Right. And actually, Sean's partner, Amy, was my dance partner in the show for one show, and then she unfortunately broke her foot, and I still to this day think she went home and beat herself with a hammer because she was my dance partner. And so I was intimidated to begin with because there were people who were familiar, and they were such amazing talents. And I'm in a room like, what's going on? And they're all singing so well and beautifully, and it just kind of, I really like the way he works. I like the way he plows in. And then you look at the other side of that, our friend Jim Lertzema. He starts by picking things apart, teaching you parts, and then putting it together. So it's 2 very different ways of doing it, but they both work really well.
And and when you do it like that, you can also find out who in your cast is more musical than others. I used to think I was musical, but now I think I'm strictly a straight play.
Yeah.
I can't remember the things I used to be remember when it comes to music back then. But I mean, there's some people that he's like, they just look at a note on a paper and they can sing it like that.
Well, so I've worked with a music director before who will say, tenors, I need you to sing a B whatever. And I just kind of go, ding, 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 ding. I don't read music. I go up when the black dot goes up. I go down when the black dot goes down. If they're close together, it's fast. If they're far apart, it's slow. So that's kind of like how I figure it out, right? And then I just sit next to the other tenors.
You'll be amazed
and listen, right, and hope that everybody's on.
And this is it. You learn, especially in a big musical, who the musical people are, and you stand next to them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Right,
and you get an education that way. But every music director I have ever worked with has patience. And that's the first and foremost thing. You have to be patient to get some of these people, because some of us, like me, you got to bang them on the head and know that's the wrong note.
Yeah.
I thought it was the right note.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I remember after my first rehearsal with Sean for We Will Rock You, I walked up to his piano afterwards and I was like, and he said, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I think that's a mantra every music director says.
Listen to the CD. You'll be fine. You'll be great. Don't worry about it.
I seem to recall Dan Ringette saying that to me in Into the Woods, David Irvin saying that to me in Scarlet Pimpernel. Every director, you'll be fine. Just relax.
And you do have to relax. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust the people around you and trust your leadership. They wouldn't have put you in the show if they didn't think that you were capable of doing it.
Absolutely.
And so it's just what you have to do. You have to trust the people that are there, you know, and a director has to trust the music director.
Yes.
Right. And you have to, it's like when you're casting a show and you're working together, you have to trust each other. And that's really important. And, I think we've all been in those musicals where you're coming up on Tech Sunday and you're going, what's that I always say? No Muppet mouth.
Yes.
No Muppet mouth.
Yes.
Don't stand up there going and thinking that other people are going to cover for you, because they're not.
I have to confess this one story about Into the Woods. As you know, that's Sondheim, right? That's It's just a very technical, lots and lots of words all crammed into everything. And there's a moment towards the end of Act 1 where everybody's saying a lot of lines, and I was in the back, fortunately, cast in the back of the big clump of actors, along with our dear friend Ian Dietrich, who was playing one of the princes. And we just kept looking at each other and mouthing whatever nonsense could come out of our mouths, because we knew we're in the back, they won't hear us. It's okay. Just act it out. It's a confession. Dan Ringette is probably, don't tell Dan, anybody. Dan, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Michael, our producer, has something. What, Michael?
Amber Dunphy had chatted that she's done Joseph twice and still can't get the colors right. Hashtag Muppet Mouth.
Yes. Yeah, well, you do what you do. Or if you're lucky, you can hide behind the coat when you're doing the choreography and you're spinning around like an umbrella. So you just have to do the colors when you come around front. Which right now Sharon is typing feverishly. No. Cheaters.
Which is like, speaking of that, the Warner last year put on Something Rotten, which is a brilliantly funny show. And there is that one scene when they're doing Omelette the musical, when it just throws a takeoff of every other show it can throw in there. And at one point they come out saying it's yellow and white and yellow and white and yellow.
If it was two colors, I would have no trouble whatsoever.
And I would be on the wrong color.
I didn't know there were that many colors in the rainbow.
Yes, apparently there are.
There are that. Yes. So I think it's time for us to bring our guest on.
I think that'd be a love. Wait, what's this? Turn music volume.
That's me.
That's a technical
I have to do
note.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think it's a wonderful time to bring on.
It's a technical note. And so, so I'm doing that right now, Michael. You're going to hear a ding. Okay, there we go. I turned up the music. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. We're really jazzed to have with us Sean Lewis tonight. Sean is a music director who's very well known in our area. He's worked with us here at PSC as music director of our production of the Great American Trailer Park Christmas Musical. He MD'd at Landmark Community Theater for the Great American Trailer Park Musical, which I directed. And he also worked on In the Heights, amazing show, Matilda, We Will Rock You, and Cabaret at Landmark. He's music director of Seussical at Seven Angels. He's also MD'd at Holy Cross High School and Wham's, the Waterbury area magnet school. And this is just a drop in the bucket of what our friend Sean has done. So please welcome Sean Lewis. Sean, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Ed.
Nice of you to send an audience just for that.
How are you both? I'm good. I'm good. Really, you guys are making me laugh. Like that whole opening, everything that you guys said is it's been entertaining, and the way you were talking about the shows kind of choked up a little bit there because I actually missed the rehearsal process a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, the rehearsal part of it for so many of us is really, I think it's one of my favorites. I'm kind of sad when it's over because then we don't see each other as much. We're not together as much because we're just doing the performances and the little pickups that we do, and then it's over.
Yeah, you do love doing the performances themselves, but it's the getting there that makes it fun.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of Hamilton, when we first watched that, as soon as that downbeat hit, God, and I just, again, the emotion, just you miss, all of us, we miss that energy. We miss the feeling of opening a show. And so, but it's really good. Thanks for having me on. I'm really, really honored you guys asked me to be on. I'm glad it worked out. So
good. We're excited to have you.
We'd be even more excited to have you back here someday, but
absolutely.
That's sometime. You get a musical. What's the first thing you do when they finish saying, okay, you're going to do, We Will Rock You? What's the first thing you do?
Well, one of the first things is I got to start putting together my my band, right? I have people in mind, start thinking about who I'm going to put together, the type of ensemble I want for that part of it. Though that's like the last part, right? We bring that in right at the end. That's kind of the first thing I think of. And then it's, working with the director and saying, okay, what's our plan of attack? As Ed was saying, different directors have a different way of doing it. That whole kind of front loading, learning, getting as much music out of the way as we can. So then director and choreographer can do their work, right? If you can't get too much accomplished with the musical, if you're not familiar with the music. So, and then, it's exactly as Ed described it. I definitely am one of those directors that I'm like, okay, let's jump in. Let's do some of these big numbers. Let's hit, the big numbers in Act 1. And I know that, like Ed, everything that you described, I know that I'm effective and I'm doing what I've set out to do. If I'm making members of the cast kind of uncomfortable, because I think there's so much that you learn and just kind of jumping in. And some things you go, oh, that's kind of okay. And then other things you're like, whoa, all right, I guess I'm not going to guess I got to really work on some of this. So that's really
one of the reasons you like to jump in so boldly at the beginning is to get past that level of discomfort for everybody. So that they, all right, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can walk away from that first rehearsal of accomplishing, like putting some things together and having it kind of sound the way that it should, you walk out of rehearsal and just like people walk out of the theater singing their favorite song from the show, right? And we want them to do that. We want the hook. And I think in that first rehearsal, especially, if I can have members of the cast walking out with that hook in their head, they're going to be excited to come back and, okay, feed me more, give me more, give me more. And I also, I think there's a lot to be said for just kind of the way I live. There's so much to be made to come from just making mistakes and learning from your mistakes, and that discomfort. Once you get over that, that's a huge step. So
we've all been there. We've all sung those things that weren't ours.
Yeah,
I've done it. But that's what the rehearsal process is all about, right? Yeah. It's learning. It's figuring out what you're supposed to be doing and getting comfortable with it so that you can move on to the other aspects of the show, the choreography and the blocking and so forth.
Yeah. So one of our viewers just texted me a question for Sean.
Oh, great.
So Agnes was asking if you could tell us about your first music directing debut, and what was it like?
Oh my gosh.
You were sick.
I really, the first, I mean, through high school and then even into college, I played in pits, and, gigged and done some things in that regard. I helped work on a production when I was in high school. I helped work on a production at Sacred Heart, actually, because a friend of mine that I went to middle school with, I want to say they were working on, it was Barnum. And I just dabbled a little bit there, but it wasn't really until very first thing was I directed Summerscape Music Theater Workshop, which I started, which is when I first met little tiny Emily Dan, back in that was like 1996, 97, somewhere in there. And I did a summer production of a version of Oliver, and Emily was my Oliver. And then from there, I just started doing a bunch of others each of the summers. And then really the first time was when I ventured in with Nautic Teen Theater, when Michael Candela was director in the late 2000s there. And I'd done, we did Godspell, we did Zombie Prom. Those were my first real getting into being an MD. With those shows.
You MD'd the Godspell at the Nautic Teen Theater?
I did when I was up on the scaffolding, 3 levels up, and then everybody else was.
I remember seeing it. It was a brilliant production.
Yeah, that was a blast. I had a blast with that one.
That's St. Michael's Parish Hall.
Yep.
Right off the green there, and it's a beautiful place, a beautiful space for that kind of thing.
Yep, and so that was
those teen theater shows. That's a lot of kids, right?
It was. It really was. And same thing with the summer program that I did at Nautic High School through their continuing ed every summer. That's really, I had, that was the type of program that, even as a college kid, you put your information in and you put forth a proposal, and you get your feet wet, so I was 22, 23 years old, 1996. Sorry guys. I was and and there I was with I think the first summer was like 15 kids, and then by a few years into it there were like 30 that were doing the program. And you just, again, it's just kind of like rehearsal with the adults. It's a controlled chaos, and it's a good way just to kind of, again, throw yourself into it, and you learn, you make mistakes, you improve, and you go, no, I got to remember next year not to do that. Then the next year you do it again, and then hopefully you remember the next time that you're not going to do that. So,
Sean, have you always been that kind of let's just dive into it kind of person?
Yeah, it's both. I think it benefits me, but it also is probably one of my weaknesses too, because sometimes I take off a little bit too much, and then I really have to kind of pull it together. But I think that's.
When did you first learn you were musical?
When I was 5.
Uh-huh.
My mom had my birthday's January, and the Christmas before, my mom had gotten my dad a small 2-manual organ with a 1.5 octave foot pedals, and just as a Christmas gift for my dad. Something my dad's musical. He was a drummer. He played with Prospect Fife and Drum Corps, and did some other things. And so to shorten the story, one night in like January, my dad had played the melody to the song More, which was my parents' wedding song. And he played the melody, and then like the next night, my parents got home from work, and I was like, Mom, Dad, look what I can do. And I played the melody. And then like he did another, I think it might've been either Feelings or the Ant Rubber Tree, that whole High Hopes. And my dad played the melody, and then I played it back again like the next day. And then like a couple weeks later, I was taking organ lessons. So the first year I just did organ. And then I started moving onto piano and organ after that. So.
It sounds so similar to Elton John there.
Well, that one
we asked the question, what happened?
I listen. I watched that, and I was asking the same
You know
thing.
what?
We're good friends.
His father loved him. If you've seen the music, the movie Rocket Man, you'll know exactly what I'm
Oh,
talking
absolutely. Yeah, that was actually,
about. We had another question from Casey and Thompson. She was asking what has been the most difficult musical you've ever worked on so far?
Most difficult, really by far, was In the Heights. And that show, that was just a year ago. We were, a year ago this week, we had put Matilda on the stage, and at the same time I was rehearsing In the Heights. And so I had, for about 3 weeks, I had this melding of the music of Tin Minchin from Matilda, which is just off his rocker anyway, mixing with Lin-Manuel Miranda. So I had Matilda in the Heights in my head, and which was quite something to kind of, but In the Heights, and it was just such a joy to do that show. When I got the score, I remember opening it and I couldn't stop smiling because I'm looking at these parts, and it was just, I couldn't wait to just dig in. And it was so rewarding to bring that show to the stage. That cast was absolutely, the summer before was We Will Rock You, and I absolutely adore it. And that musical brought me just as much joy. But In the Heights, there was just something that, there were so many things that aligned so well. And Foster and I text each other, back and forth every once in a while, and I'll just like throw that on. I'm like, I miss La Familia. Like I joked with everybody that show helped me connect with my Latin roots, my Hispanic roots.
It was a brilliant show. The entire cast was really strong. Yes. One person that stood out for me, especially Joanne Chenkis as Abuela.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen her do. And I've seen her on stage, and she was talented. Just so gripping in that role. And of course, Justin, who is our
boy.
The entire cast was so strong, and the choreography and the music and that, it was brilliant. You guys all did an amazing job on that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's always rewarding. That show, just doing that show was rewarding, but to bring it together like we did, to put the product that we did on that stage and to have it be received the way it was, all of those things just added to just how immensely, God, it means so much to me. I've had a few moments during the past few months of, being separated from the rest of life that I've just put that soundtrack on, and I've just let the emotion run, and I've kind of relived some of those joys, and then I'm texting people and I'm like, I miss you so much, and all that kind of stuff. So
well, I guess there's really no reason to ask the question, is there a show you've done that you would do again? Because we know what that would be. Well,
there's that one, but believe it or not, do you know what the show that I've done the most, and it's very similar in a lot of ways, the show that I've done the most times and I think last year at this time with Matilda and In the Heights going, my girls and I were we were going over some things, and one of them asked, Dad, how many shows do you think you've been a part of in your life? And I went through it, and it's been 50 different productions. So it's been upwards of like 60 different productions, but around 50 shows. And the one that I've done the most is, believe it or not, is Once on This Island. I've done it 4 times.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And it gets me every time when they're at that last scene, why we tell the story, and that's exactly it, and
I've never seen the production, but I know the music. I've heard the music, but I've never seen the production.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that I did it a couple times when I was in high school and college, really college, and then I done it a few others, and it's just one of those things where Once on a Island, sure, I know that I have that score burned into my brain.
Yeah, and it comes back the second or third or fourth or fifth time you've done it. But it does change every time you do it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You find
depending on the cast. Sure.
The differences in the cast, and you find something, depending on where you are in your life, you find something a little different that speaks to you, that maybe you didn't connect with before.
I imagine you're chomping at the bit for the day that the Hamilton score becomes available for you.
Yeah, that one and Great Comet 1812. Natasha Pierre, and that I saw that down in New York 3 times. That became an obsession of mine. So at the same time, I couldn't get tickets to Hamilton, Ed. So I couldn't get tickets to Dear Evan Hansen or anything like that. So, but at that time, there were just again that was such a different production. Just in as an audience member, you are immersed within the show. Sure. And it was just amazing. And again, 3 times seeing it, 3 very different experiences.
Wow.
So it was just a pretty incredible show. So I have to get an accordion and work on that, because that's one that I'd maybe want to be on stage. But
And is there a dream show besides?
I was going to ask that. What's your bucket list show? Right?
Bucket list.
Oh man, what's the bucket list?
I mean,
that's a good question. I mean, I can more so tell you shows that I really don't care to do anymore. But as far as a dream show, I'm not even sure. I guess the only way to answer that is the only viable answer would be the dream show probably isn't written yet.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the beauty of it. I don't know. I mean, having done We Will Rock You, which I saw when I was had been touring with my choir from when I was at Woodland. We were in the UK, and I actually got a chance. We went and saw a touring company of it in the UK. Having done In the Heights now, I mean, Hamilton would be a blast. I would love to tackle that. But I almost think that the show on the bucket list is not. It's not written yet, which is kind of cool.
So what about a show that you were asked to do that where you were like, meh, and then you went, wow, I love it.
One that surprised me. To be honest, I like Cabaret. I didn't. It wasn't on my list of things that I was really familiar with. But again, the more. Once I got the music, once I was asked to do it, and then I got the music, and I was prepping, that show really grew on me. Yeah. And it was just a different kind of rewarding experience. But, I kind of had a string of shows where, I was on the stage during the performance, which is a completely different experience. So between Cabaret and Trailer Park, we were on stage. We Will Rock You, we were on stage. So we were up top. That's a blast to be on stage, to be seen, be in the shadows, kind of lurking in the shadows. Right. But your presence is right there. And you contrast that with In the Heights, and worked out with that venture of Chorus Line was the first one, and then In the Heights was the second that we really had some things solidified with having the pit be 2 floors down in the small theater there at Landmark. So
another question that we have, one of our viewers, Deb, would like to know who or what is your biggest influence, or has been your biggest influence musically?
Well, in terms of me as a piano player, it'd be Billy Joel, Bruce Hornsby, Marcone, all people I've seen. I've seen Marcone probably half a dozen, maybe 8 times. So those are in terms of just me and my personal musical influence. The music of kind of the workings and the instrumentation and just the relationship between the band members of the band, the weight, all of that, just that the relationship that they have, the unspoken stuff, that's the kind of stuff that as musicians, I when I'm playing with other musicians, that's the kind of stuff that I look for. But those are my own personal influences. And then when it comes to the shows, as a pianist, Jason Robert Brown, I wish I could just even take a little little sliver of his creative juices and infuse them into my own being. Anytime somebody walks into like the audition process, which I love the audition process. I love having all these different performers come in and scared out of their minds, hand me their music and then explain to me what's going on in the music. And I always make sure that they're comfortable, they're set. We talk quick about tempo and then we go. And I always, I relish the opportunity to, when I'm sight reading something brand new, like I get one, I'm like, okay, never seen this one before. And then you just, again, it's that jump right in. Can't have any fear of making any mistakes. You just do it. And you just follow those notes. Ed, as you were saying, following those black notes as they're going up and down on the staff, right? But, it's a little bit different. But, there's been a few times where I've had to sight read Jason Robert Brown, and it's a challenge. It's pretty amazing to get to do that. So even the audition process for me, there's so much that is rewarding for me that I'll walk out going, okay, well, I can add those songs to my list of things I've played already.
Wow.
I dislike auditions so much.
It is very intimidating
on both sides of the table, because as a director, I'm scared to death that we're not going to find the people that we need to do the show. And then we're going to have to go door knocking and begging again. And then, and on this side, it's just daunting. And frightening and scary. I always look at it, my job as an accompanist is to be kind of the least scary person in the room.
Right.
So,
that's, and I look at it too with the potential cast members coming in, like that's our first introduction to each other and the first step in our relationship that we're going to have now for the next 2.5 months. So I like, if I can establish that little bit of trust from somebody who comes in and clearly like they're a little bit on edge, maybe they weren't quite, they're so apologetic. Like if they mess something up, right, they're so apologetic. But I look at it that's our first interaction in the establishment of a relationship as a accompanist and as a music director. So that for me goes a long way of saying to them, I'm good. You can trust me, come along for the ride.
And it's the toughest thing to do, I think, as far as auditioning it for a musical is to go up to an accompanist that you don't know and give them some music that you think and you hope that the accompanist knows.
It's true, but as a director, one gauge for me is how does that auditioner treat that accompanist? Are they kind to them? Are they understanding? You take into account nerves and things, but if you have something standing before you that's debased,
and there are some that you
treating them badly, that's a cue for me, so I do pay attention to that stuff. Absolutely, because there are some of those auditions that unfortunately you just take, okay, we'll put that one over here. Thank you for coming.
It's always the piano player's fault.
Exactly. Did you play that in the right key? Like
yeah, right. It didn't sound like that on the record.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that happens. Should we move on to?
Sean, we're gonna have you park for just a bit, and we're gonna go on to Lydia and bring you back on in a few minutes so you can visit with Lydia. Thank you, Sean.
All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
We'll talk to you very, very soon.
All right.
And now it's time for our very good friend Lydia Cleft to join us all the way from Northfield, Minnesota. Lydia, are you there? Oh, Lydia.
Oh, there's Lydia.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi, fellas.
Oh, you have fans in the audience.
You do. They're shouting, "We love you, Lydia."
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. So how are things over there in Northfield?
Oh, pretty good. It's still kind of hot here, but it's okay. I've been keeping busy, working in my garden, and
how's your garden going with all the heat?
I picked my first cucumber this week. It's so exciting.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these days you're going to have to share that pickle recipe with us.
And I looked today. I'm a couple of days away from a batch.
Okay. That's excellent. So Lydia, we missed you last week. We're glad you're back, and we have some questions for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to go first with this question. Right. We actually got a lot of questions this week, so we picked 2. We're going to save a couple more for another segment with you. Okay. So AR in Beacon Falls asks, my friend called me the other day and asked if I was up for a drive-by. I'm not sure what she means by that. Is that a new line that the kids today use to pick each other up for casual non-prescription drug use and non-marital you know what? If so, where do I sign up? Can you help?
Okay, sure. Well, AR, it really depends on what neighborhood you're in on what a drive-by might mean. So where I live, a drive-by means that your friend's gonna let you know they're gonna do a drive-by. So you go down to your mailbox and then you wait for them to drive by. And that means they're not really gonna get out of the car, but they'll roll their window down and they'll chat a little with you. And you get to visit that way. And it's safe because you don't have to have them in your house. You know, it's just a nice way to say hi. But I don't have knowledge, but I can see where drive-by in other realms might mean something different. So I would tell you to look it up on the internet, but I don't know where it might take you.
Well, I'm sure AR appreciates that. Tim, do you have a question?
I do. This is from a viewer in Torrington, and that viewer asked, "Dear Lydia, I'm at my wit's end. I've been trapped in my house with 4 kids, 2 dogs, a canary, a ferret, and my mother-in-law for weeks. My husband is an essential worker and comes home, showers, and hides in the garage, his man cave. My kids won't go out in the heat, and my mother-in-law won't stop disinfecting everything and issuing toilet paper by the square. The canary is losing its feathers, I think from stress. Do you have any suggestions on what I could do to, 1, bring my family back together, and 2, save my sanity so that I don't end up in the back of a squad car?"
Okay, sure. Now, in order to keep your family together, sometimes you need a little alone time so you don't kill anybody.
Well,
So I would suggest maybe doing one of those drive-bys to one of your friends. The safe kind I talked about, not the internet kind.
Okay.
So, and then since your mother-in-law is all about disinfecting things and you've got 4 kids, well, let her loose on them and they'll never even know you're gone. So, you know, it's a happy thing for everybody involved. The mother-in-law gets to disinfect things, the kids get quality time with grandma, and you get to hightail it out of here for a little bit.
That is great advice, Lydia. That is great
very good
advice. Hightail it out and leave the kids with grandma to get disinfected.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and I would suggest staples for the feathers on the bird, right?
Just,
No, the bird will be fine. Yeah, it's okay. They lose their feathers every now and again. They grow new ones. It's okay.
I think, Tim, didn't you have a bald bird once?
we had a bald budgie. His name was Willie, and
So your Willie was bald.
Well, they do say that pets and owners look alike.
The bird.
the bird Willie was bald, and
Okay.
he was a bald
And
bird.
So
We don't like to
a little-
talk about it. It's a family secret.
Well, I tuned in a few minutes late, so I'm glad Tim stopped measuring things with his rod because that confused me.
Okay.
yes, that's good. So Lydia, you know, we're always looking forward to what treats you might have for us. You've done haikus and you've done a musical interpretive poem. What do you have for us this week?
Well, you know, like it's been really hot, so I haven't left the house a lot either. So I've been channel surfing a bit. And I landed on Animal Planet.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was one of those weird animal shows. And do you know what you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino?
what with a rhino?
An elephant?
Elephant with a rhino. What do you get?
Elephino.
Oh, Lydia.
And then I was flipping other channels, you know, and I like fast cars. So they got these shows about, you know, one's called Street Outlaws, and it's about illegal car racing.
Yeah.
There was another one called Pinks, and if you lost the race, you had to give the guy the title of your car.
Oh yeah, like in Greece.
Yeah, so I was flipping channels and I found this show and I thought, oh yay, a new race car show. And I was watching it for a while, and this guy comes down a set of stairs, and boy, isn't he handsome and wearing a lovely suit. And then he starts talking to these other guys who I assume are the drivers, you know, and then things took a turn because the show's called Drag Race, but there's no cars in it. Yeah, no cars at all.
No cars at all.
Just
Just
a
fast
bunch
women.
of pretty ladies in one shot, and then they go back to their twin brothers talking about them. I don't get it. No
Yeah,
cars.
they have some pretty interesting names too.
Yeah. Well, my favorite though, I gotta say, was named after candy, Jujubee.
Jujubee.
Yeah, Jujubee's my favorite. With the brother and the sister.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I'm familiar with the show Drag Race, and one of my favorite names was Pandora Box.
Ooh,
I loved Pandora.
I
She
don't
was
want to
very
know
funny.
what's in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you don't
Don't
want
open that box.
No. So something, the one thing that I did when I wasn't visiting with you fellas last week was apparently when I did a couple of other things on the show, I got noticed.
Oh.
And I got hired to be in a play, and they said it was because of my accent. I don't know what they're talking about, but yeah, that's why I got hired.
Oh,
So that got me thinking about people from, where I live. And I found this piece that must have been written by somebody that was living across the street from me. So I'd like to read you a little something that I really think was written by my neighbor.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, it goes like this. I know you like me. I know you do. That's why whenever I come around, she's all over you. And I know you want it. It's easy to see. In the back of your mind, I know. You should be on with me. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Don't you? Don't you know? Don't you wish your girlfriend was raw like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was fun like me? Don't you? Don't you know? Fight that feeling. Leave it alone. Cause if it ain't love, it just ain't enough to leave my happy home. Let's keep it friendly. You have to play fair. See, I don't care, but I know she ain't gonna wanna share. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Chuck? Don't you, baby? Don't you know? All right, sing. Don't you wish your girlfriend was raw like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was fun like me? Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Doesn't that sound like somebody from around these parts?
Sounds like
It
somebody-
does, yeah,
somebody
yeah.
did a drive-by.
Somebody did a drive-by, and yeah, they wrote that for you. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. It's no Benjamin Franklin, but it's okay.
it's
It's
okay.
okay,
That's right.
yeah.
It's no Benjamin Franklin, and I just want you to know that I hummed that song for days. So thank you
nice.
so much. So
That's
listen,
awesome.
we're gonna bring our guest back on. Sean, can you pop back on?
There he
he is. Sean, say
Hey.
hello to Lydia. Our
Hello, Lydia.
Hi, Sean.
Northfield,
Nice to meet you.
Minnesota.
Nice to meet you.
So-
Love the
so-
song, by the way. I think you're right. Probably.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Sean, do you have a question maybe for Lydia?
I do. I don't know if you heard, we were talking about all the different shows. I've worked on 50 plus different shows over the years, and
That's
I work with a
lot.
lot of stage managers, a lot of directors, a lot of stage managers. There's some
Mhm.
stage managers that, they can't be in the spotlight on stage, but they might perform in the wings. Or I even had one stage manager that, he asked if he could sing a solo in the show. And I said, sure, you can sing solo that we can't hear you. But anyway,
Ah,
I had a question for you though.
Mhm.
Stage managers, some of them like to, I guess the only way to put it is they like to hear themselves talk. And I'm wondering if there's a way, if you have any advice of how I can let some stage managers know that nobody really listens to them, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. So can you help me with
I'm
that?
right here, I'm right
Well,
here.
there is a time and a place for those stage managers, and I hear some of them can be a handful. I know one of them that works at that place there. Her shirt even says stage manager on it, so everybody knows. Don't mess with me. But yeah, I mean, you just have to tell that stage manager to go find something else to do, because that's your department and not theirs. You know, tell them to go make sure the actors are watered and, you know, things like that, so everybody's happy. But that keeps them out of your hair. So maybe take an extra 10 minutes before rehearsal, write down some little things that you know can keep them out of your nose. Yeah.
Well, I'll try that. Anything to keep stage managers out of my way, I'll try.
Yeah. And there are some perfectly lovely stage managers.
I feel attacked, Sean.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. Lydia, thank you so much for being
You're
with us
welcome.
today and for taking some time to speak with our guests as well. We
Sure
love
thing.
having you on the show, and we look forward to seeing you in an episode soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Lydia. Wow.
Well, that was a you know, I remember her first appearance on there, and it was her party, and she could cry if she wanted.
That's her dramatic
And now,
reading.
and now
yeah.
she's, you know,
Now
Don't
she's,
you wish your
don't
girl-
you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me?
don't you know?
Don't you know? Yeah. So Sean, now it's time for us to play a game. This is
All
an
right.
opportunity for you to win a prize for yourself and for one of our studio audience members. Tony Benedetti is in the house today.
Okay.
This is called jargon gymnastics, or as our producer likes to call it, jargon gymnastics,
Jargon.
because he's full of gas.
Yes.
And so,
Stretch your mind.
and stretch your tongue.
All right.
Tim, tell him what he has to do.
We're going to give you three words in a foreign language, and for each word, we will give you three possible definitions. If you get 2 out of 3 right, you win a prize for you and for Tony in our audience. This week, the words are Hungarian.
Okay.
Do you speak Hungarian?
No, but my oldest lived there for a year, but she's not with me. So that doesn't help me at all. So I'm going to do my best here.
I want to tell you that when I looked up these Hungarian words, it had a little speaker icon.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like a very angry Russian man was telling me how to say these words. So
Yeah,
if
it sounds
I
like
say-
you're choking. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, so here's the first word. Bulldog. Bulldog. B-O-L-D-O-G, as if you're spelling Hungarian really helps you
Okay.
train. Bulldog.
Bulldog.
Bulldog. Is it 1, happy? Is it 2, sad? Is it number 3, Hungarians who really like dogs to the point of dressing them up as circus figures?
As much as I'd like to say it's 3, I'm going to try for 1.
Is correct.
Happy.
Bulldog. I am very bulldog to see you.
Happy to see you too, Tim.
Yeah. All right. This one's it's pronounced nothing like it's spelled, so I'm trying to say it right. Shereza. Shereza.
Okay.
It's spelled S-O-R-O-Z, but that doesn't. Okay. It's a Shereza 1, the Hungarian tradition of dancing until the cows come home. Is it number 2, the Hungarian tradition of watching episodes of Green Acres with all the family gathered around the TV? Or is it number 3, a pub?
I think I remember her talking about the fact that Green Acres is still a huge hit over there, but I'm going to go with 3.
Number 3 is correct.
Yeah.
It is a pub. I'll drink to that.
I'm empty.
Oh, sorry. Not going to help that. All right, so here we go for the sweep. You've already won, but we're going to go for the sweep here.
All right, here we go. 3 for 3. We
Ed
go for it.
likes to say T-Talk.
T-Talk.
T-Talk. Is T-Talk, number 1, a Hungarian cuckoo clock that never needs winding? Number 2, a new Hungarian website that shows 20 seconds of Hungarians' videos watching their cows come home? Or is it number 3, a secret?
Well, I've already won. Let's go with 3.
Number 3 is correct.
It's a sweep.
3 for 3.
T-Talk is a secret. Congratulations.
So you've won for you and for our audience member, Tony Benedetti, a custom-made COVID-19 mask, Take Flight Live, and
Sweet.
Theater Strong Phoenix Stage Company wristband.
Nice.
Congratulations, Tony. Congratulations, Sean.
Sean, it was great fun having you on the show.
It really was. It was awesome. It's great to see you again, and I hope we can work together soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I really, this has been a blast. Really enjoyed it. If I can I plug one little thing?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Please do.
So I've got some other. We were talking beforehand. I've got a gig, some new venture coming up and stuff, but that's not what I want to plug. What I want to plug is that I've been doing songs with Sean. I've done already with Stefan Sampson, John Farias, and also with Isabella Andrade, where we're working on some projects together so I'll record whatever song they want to do, send it to them, they record them and video themselves, and then I mix it all together and bring it all into one. So we get to still perform, just not in the same place. So I've got 3 done already. I'm working on getting the In the Heights cast back together to do the opening number to In the Heights, and then I'm also waiting on No World Bears, Katie Brunetto, Janina Rosa, and Jess Irizarry. There's some projects that are already in the works. So it's songs with Sean. Been trying to get them out there. If there's any other performers out there that want to do something like that, just contact me. I'm happy to do it. This is the space where most of that magic happens, and it's a lot of fun. It's really cool just to kind of
to find that, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't have a YouTube platform or anything. So I mean, if it's something you'd be willing to share on Phoenix, on with all your stuff, great. The 3 that I've done already, they've just kind of put it out there to the universe, to to people that they follow them on whatever social media and such. But I'd be happy to send that and just kind of get it out there. That way we can all still have this community and perform
Sean,
together.
And, we'd be happy to share some of those videos as part of our show. So
absolutely.
Send them to us, and any of our viewers or listeners out there, if you'd like to participate and you don't have contact information for Sean, you can email us here at Phoenix Stage Company, info@phoenixstagecompany.org, and we'll send your information to him and get you hooked up with him.
Absolutely. I just thanks for I just wanted to kind of share that because
I think that is awesome. So
anything in these days, anything creative like that is always welcome.
Yeah, and we love you. You're part of our family. So we're
nice to be part of the family. So
yeah, say hello to Amy for us, and
I will.
I hope her foot is better after she beat herself with a hammer, so she wouldn't have to dance again. And yeah, so thank you very much.
All right, thank you both. Thank you.
I love Sean. He's a great guy.
One of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shall we introduce the new segment?
We have a new segment. There's so much going on that we decided. I was just kind of thinking, hey, Tim, let's do this thing. We're going to call this segment, Give Me Some Good News. And each week, Tim and I are just going to find some random good news from around the world, and we're going to share it with you. We have no idea what good news we've each found. We just hope that it's not identical.
Yeah, I'm sure it is in this case.
I'm sure. So you never know what you're going to hear. We're just going to share some good news. Tim, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'd be happy to go first. My good news today is that somewhere in our nation's capital, the country is taking a little step towards normalcy. And it has nothing to do with the government or politics. It has to do with a grown man throwing a spherical object covered in leather at another man holding a rounded stick. It's baseball, it's sports, and it's back. As we speak, right now, the World Series champions Washington Nationals are hosting the New York Yankees in the most eagerly awaited and longest delayed opening day in baseball history, and boy, is it welcome. Now, I know people might say that sports has already come back, and that might be the case in things like NASCAR and golf, but tonight marks the first time since March that 2 teams have physically faced each other in one of the major U.S. sports leagues, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and Major League Baseball. And for people like me, who jones for live action sports, it was a long time coming. Now, remember where we were when COVID-19 really started affecting things. Baseball was in spring training, just weeks away from the opening of the season. The NBA and the NHL were totally gung-hoing their seasons, and March Madness was just about to start up strong. In other words, it was a sports junkie's favorite time of the year. Then all of a sudden, a void. Nothing on live TV. Sports radio had practically nothing to talk about other than looking forward to this day. And around the country, newspapers like the Hartford Courant simply stopped printing their sports sections. But starting tonight, that changes. And then the following week, the NBA and the NHL seasons resume, each in their own respective bubbles. Between these three sports, they will be cramming a whole lot of games in a whole little time, meaning it's an ultimate feast on TV for people like me. However, let's not kid ourselves too much. It's all one big experiment. The leagues are trying to take everything into consideration as they begin, but they know things could go south in a hurry. And if we're not careful, we could end up right back where we started, watching South Korean baseball games on ESPN at 2:30 in the morning. The interesting thing to me is the comparison of what is going on with sports and what is happening here right now in the world of theater. We remain dark because although we know how to protect the audiences in these pandemic times, we still haven't figured out a way to put actors on the stages, band members in the pits, sopranos, tenors, altos, and basses in the choir loft. And once we do, will that be enough to attract an audience in these still scary times? All of these sports are starting up playing their games without fans. In the case of the Red Sox, my personal favorite, tomorrow night's game at Fenway Park will be played in an empty stadium minus the 37,000 screaming Red Sox fans yelling for beer and singing Sweet Caroline. Ask anyone you know who's ever played sports for an organized team at any level. Yeah, playing without a crowd is like an after-school pickup game in someone's backyard. It's a game, but it's always better to play in front of a cheering crowd. To put it in perspective, take your favorite comedy play or musical. Take something like Larry Shue's hilarious play, The Foreigner, or the musical Something Rotten, and try to perform them without a crowd. Take Phoenix's perennial holiday show, Every Christmas Story Ever Told, and try doing a 9-show production that is only seen on people's view screens without a crowd responding to the craziness. It's just not the same. So yeah, I'm happy and excited and thrilled that sports are back, but I'm also not kidding myself. It's not going to be what I remember. But here's the ultimate point. At this stage, more than 4 months after the world really came to a nearly complete stop, we are more than ready for a little bit of the next best thing to normal. That's
That is good news, Tim.
Thank you. What do you got?
Wow, I've got some work to do for next week. That's like an editorial.
It is. I get out of control sometimes.
No, it's excellent. You know what? My good news comes out of the UK.
The UK, okay.
The UK, where researchers have been doing work to restore nature on the island of the United Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole movement called Rewilding Britain. Oh. And so they've started reintroducing animals into nature in the UK that have been extinct for years on that island, because it's an island. So the animals cannot repopulate themselves. And so they're hoping that nature will reheal itself. And it helps restore nature, restore the climate, restore just the good things that are happening. So researchers have been working with an organization called Rewilding Britain, and the goal is to rewild 300,000 acres in the United Kingdom. Wow. They've been working with farmers and landowners, and with the fact that nature can heal itself. Mm-hmm. So bison have recently been reintroduced into several other European countries, and last week it was announced that the UK would be the latest to do this. A small herd was reintroduced and released into Blean Woods near Canterbury in Kent. And these bison, I get emotional. They're the first to roam free in Britain for thousands of years.
That's brilliant. That's good news.
Right? So the bison are only to live in Britain because of human intervention now. And being an island means that species have no chance without the humans. Right. They're far from the only species undergoing these reintroduction trials. Beavers, white storks, white-tailed eagles that are thriving now in Scotland already, and pine marten are examples of the species that have been reintroduced in small numbers into England. And we're so excited about that, because if they can do it, why can't we all do it? Why can't we all start reintroducing nature and letting the planet heal itself, even while we're here? Really? And you can find out more by visiting rewildingbritain.org.uk. That's my good news.
That's good. I want to tell you, when Laura and I moved into Naugatuck in the mid 80s, you know, the Naugatuck River went through a long period of just bad.
Ooh, I used to play in that river when there was green stuff
And there
floating
was,
on
yeah,
it.
there was a lot. It was just
And
terrible.
it smelled bad.
And it did. I mean, we
That's
had
what happened to
chemical
me.
plants, and it was polluted, and it was, you know, then the 70s we started getting a little smart about it. But I remember the first time we were walking down the banks of the river and we saw an egret on the shores of the Naugatuck River, and I got all emotional. It was seeing wildlife in a place you had never seen wildlife before, and I just can't imagine what that must be like over there.
Well, can you imagine to see bison running free in the UK? I mean, they haven't been there for thousands of years. So the human inhabitants of the country, of the island,
Yep.
are seeing this for the first time. And it makes me all happy that to feel like, you know, we've displaced so many species
Yep.
in the world that now there are people that are taking the chance and making the effort to bring them back so that we can cohabitate. And by doing that, we heal ourselves, but we also heal nature. And I think that's amazing.
And with the buffalo in Great Britain, they can have their own State Farm commercial now.
They can, you know, and the buffalo will roam.
Give me a home with a buffalo, with a deer and the antelope play. Wow, we just turned this into a musical.
We did, and it fit really well. It fit really, really well with us. So we have to talk about what's next, Tim.
What is next? Next week we have a friend that was we've never had on the show before. Well, everybody's knew that we haven't had on the show before.
Yeah,
but he's a friend of mine that I've known for a long, long time. He's WATR's Tom Shute.
Yeah.
And he will be joining us. We're going to be talking about that. What is in that? What gives us that gene to be an outgoing performer type? Who has it? Who doesn't have it? If you don't have it, how do you make it happen? We're going to be talking about the nerve about getting up on stage
to perform or not to
or
perform.
to not perform. So we'll be
It's
looking
true.
really forward to having Tom Shute join us here next week.
Yeah, that would be great. And our friend King Louis, King Louis the 13th will be joining us with The World According to Louis. And so, so we're excited to have King Louis with us next week.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
That'd be fun.
It'll be really fun.
Yes.
We need to thank our sponsors.
Yes, we do.
Black Hog Brewing Company from Oxford, Connecticut.
Thank you. I was drinking my Black Hog.
Yes, you were. They're out by the airport. If you happen to be in our area, you can stop by and see them. I don't know that they're open yet. We're still in those early phases of reopening,
Yep.
but you can order online, blackhogbrewing.com.
They're great people.
Check
We
them out.
love them.
And Sierra Ridge Media Arts, our friend Deb Cryan.
Hey, Dad.
Thank you so much, Deb, for all of your support of Phoenix Stage Company and Take Flight Live. We love you and we miss you. We hope that we will see you soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and you can donate to your community theater at any time by visiting phoenix-stage-company.square.site. We appreciate all of the support and friendship that we get from everyone.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Okay, you can say that again. That's
Don't
awesome.
forget to subscribe to our channel.
That's great. Yeah,
Is that what you meant?
no,
Oh.
it's great. Don't worry about it, Tim. Thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you, studio audience. It's been great. Thank you, Michael, for all of your hard work.
Yeah.
Al, thanks for being here. Say good night, Tim.
Good night, Tim.
That's all for now. Until next time. Bye-bye.